This just came out on Twitter yesterday. As it turns out, Health and Human Services and multiple medical organizations around the world got together in 2007 to say we've got to consolidate our thoughts on a pandemic. We need something. Here it was, HHS ties pandemic mitigation advice to severity. You see, what they did was, when we think about a nuclear war, we know we got DEFCON 5, DEFCON 4, DEFCON 3, all of these ideas. They're like, we need something cool like that. We need like a DEFCON thing for pandemics, partly to scare the crap out of everybody, but also to understand how we're all going to agree. Your DEFCON 4 may be my DEFCON 2, and your DEFCON 5 is my DEFCON 3. We can't have that happening in the world. So they actually all got together and decided how to categorize the level of a pandemic. And you will be shocked that this pandemic that has swept the world, caused all sorts of mayhem, destroyed the economies of the world, and specifically the United States of America. Seasonal and pandemic influenza, a 2000 update on challenges and solutions. This is Oxford Academic. Remember, HHS was involved. One of the writers of this is Julie Gerberding, who used to be the head of the CDC, is now the head of Merck's vaccine department. You want to know what DEFCON category COVID-19 is in? You're wondering? Is it DEFCON 4? DEFCON 5? No? Oh, it's not even DEFCON 3. Look at this, folks. Category 2. Let's look at the numbers. If there's a case fatality rate of between 0.1 to 0.5, then am I reading that right? I think it's right. If it's 0.1 to 0. Less than 0.1 to 0.5, then it's a category 2. The excess death rate should be somewhere between 30 and 150,000. The illness rate, the percentage of the population that is contagious or should have it, is between 20 and 40. And the potential numbers of deaths based on the 2006 U.S. population, which was smaller than ours, somewhere between 90,000 we would accept and 450,000 deaths is a category 2. A little wimpy hurricane, a tiny little sucker that people in Florida will probably be out surfing if it's a category 2. 20th century U.S. experience. They look at the experience of when have we seen these, and they compare it to the 1957 and 1968 pandemic. It's a category 2, and when you think about all of the numbers being inflated, they're inflating just to get it to a category 2. Remember, if this thing came in under 90,000, it would still be a category 1, a seasonal flu or cold. And then think about the fact that all of the decent studies, the real studies where they didn't use deathly doses, fatal doses of hydroxychloroquine, Ford Medical Center in a huge study showed that there was a 50% reduction in death, that half the people died that got the hydroxychloroquine versus those that did not. So that means you could have cut our death rate in half. We're currently at 130,000. We should be at 65 to 70,000 had Andrew Cuomo and all of the politicization of hydroxychloroquine not taken place. Had you gotten hydroxychloroquine, and I'm not saying there may be even better treatments out there, like an asthma treatment we're now starting to hear about out of Texas, but hydroxychloroquine would have cut this number in half, which means we never would have even made it into a category 2. This is a category 1 that was stretched into a category 2 by terrible political decisions and the politicization of medicine, bad choices. But even as a category 2, do you ask yourselves, well, what did they recommend happens back then with a category 2? Here's the recommendation. Home voluntary isolation of ill at home. That's adults and children, meaning voluntary. If you're sick, you may want to stay home. We're going to recommend it. Combined with the use of an antiviral treatment as available and indicated. And remember, this would only be a recommendation. So basically they said only if you're ill, not the healthy ones. You go ahead and run around. And by the way, if you're sick and you want to run around, it's really not going to be that big a deal. It's just this much worse than the category 1, which we handle every day. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Oh, is this shocking to you? Did you know that they've erased that basically off of the internet? You can't find that at Health and Human Services anymore. You can't find that at the CDC because they want to terrify you over a category 2. A category 2. DEFCON 2. For example, this is from their own report. A Category 2 pandemic, similar to the 1957 and 1968 pandemics, would require voluntary isolation of the ill person at home, but neither quarantine of household members nor child and adult social distancing at schools and workplaces. Oh my God. You mean they were thinking about social distancing all the way back in 2007, and they said, no need for it with a Category 2? You've been getting this information from the very beginning in one place, right here on the HighWire. We're not pulling punches, and some idiot at YouTube is probably going to take this video down because they don't want you to know the truth. If you liked that clip, then be sure to check out our live broadcast of the HighWire every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Time. You can watch it on Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, and Twitter. We'll see you there.